Good morning, everybody. It's a bright, sunny morning here in Carroll County, and we are here at the Carroll County 4-H Fair Swine Show. What you're seeing right now on your screen, we are in the middle of, actually, we're winding down on showmanship. You'll see the beginners out there right now. We've already done senior, intermediate, and junior, and we have the beginners out there, which are all third graders. These are first-year members of Swine. They are all in third grade or just finished third grade, getting ready to go in fourth. And they are out there showing the judge how they have worked with their pigs. They're showing how well that they can control the direction and the drive of their animal. We've already, as I said, shown senior showmanship, intermediate, and junior. And I can give you the results of those, actually. Senior showmanship, for any of those of you who don't know, those are freshmen through senior in high school. Top 5 for senior showmanship was winner Megan Wagner. Second was Caleb Meeks. 3 was Riley Lanham. 4th was Sydney Bordner. And 5th was Savannah Bordner. We're going to let the judge talk just a little bit here, and we'll listen to what he's saying about the beginners, and we'll let you listen to that.
I will tell you that it's rookie showmanship. You have no idea as a judge coming into this what to expect. You're either going to have an absolute cluster, and they're everywhere, or you're going to have this situation with a bunch of just dang good kids and a really good set of showmen that, I mean, the awareness, if this is what your first year is, man, these guys, as they get juniors and intermediates and seniors, I'm telling you, it's only going to get tougher. So you guys, anybody gets left out of this deal today, I mean, just stay on your A game. I will also tell you this, just parting with this, you guys. I didn't win a showmanship competition at a county or even regional or state level until I was an 8th grader. So there is hope, I promise. So if you don't get in this deal, keep working. I use the excuse the cute girls beat me, but I know it wasn't true. I just used that as the excuse. And finally, I got tired of getting beat, and then I went out there and I just refused to stop practicing and doing that, and I can't emphasize that enough. Showmanship is hustle. Showing the hogs, that's genetics, that's hoping the feed program goes right, you hope health works out, all those things that you can't control. Showmanship is nothing but hustle, nothing but hustle. And so that's what I can't emphasize enough on this. I think this group is awesome. I think there's a couple showmen that really, really have a bright future, but all of them sincerely have a bright future, and I don't have to say that just to say it. So, again, put your hands together for this group. I'm only going to name a champion because I don't want to start nitpicking on these guys. It's way too young to do that. Your champion's young lady in front of me. Congratulations.
Joining us this morning. You're watching WILOTV.com. Our sponsors today are Indiana Packers, Eikenberry Fine Furniture, Mann Chevrolet, and Tri-Green Tractor. We have Melissa Miller here as well. That she'll be joining the reports on Shine 99 at 99.7 FM. And we'll be with you throughout the day for the Swine Show, one of the largest swine shows in Indiana, from Flora, Indiana. We're delighted to be here with Shine99TV.com. Again, it's made possible by Indiana Packers, Eikenberry Fine Furniture, Mann Chevrolet, and Tri-Green Tractor. Right now they're, of course, hosing down the show arena, keeping that dust down. We appreciate that because it gets in our camera and our sound equipment. So if we can keep the dust down, that's a good thing. And we like that. It's going to be a long day in some way, but actually the temperature is not, I've seen worse. I've seen thunderstorms. I don't think.
Class 11, Berkshire Barrows. You can be making your way to the show ring. Getting ready to start the Barrow Show. Class 11, Berkshire Barrows. Jackson Ayers, Chloe Wakefield, Andre Hernandez, Riley Lanham, Lauren Spencer.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We're here at Shine 99 TV, and we are enjoying perfect weather for the Carroll County 4-H Swine Show here in Flora, Indiana. We are actually just finished up with showmanship again. I did say a little earlier, the senior showman, but let's just do a complete recap of the showmanship show while we're on just a few minute break while our swine showmen get ready to bring up their barrows. We're going to start the barrow show here in just a few minutes. Senior showmanship, which is freshman through senior in high school. Top 5 were number 1, Megan Wagner was champion, Caleb Meeks second, Riley Lanham third, Sydney Bordner fourth, and Savannah Bordner fifth. Intermediate showman, which is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Top 5, first went to Madison Wagner, second went to Logan Schaefer, third went to Lauren Spessard, fourth went to Andre Hernandez, and fifth went to Hunter Simpson. Junior showman, which is 4th grade and 5th grade, first went to Colby Butcher, second went to Audrey Nelson, third went to Clayton Schaefer, fourth went to Chase Almager, and fifth went to Sean Russell. And in beginners, I'm going to list all the beginners. We only had one class of beginners. We had Avery Dyer, Tatum Goyer, Kaylee Hernandez, Tana Hilton, Joseph O'Neill, Olivia Overhalser, Wyatt Patrick, and Kennedy Schuler. Our judge was remarked about how good these little guys were. They're all 3rd graders. It's their first year in the Swine Project, so they were out there showing to impress. Our winners of the beginners, top 3, Olivia Overhalser won the beginning showmanship, Kennedy Schuler in second, and Avery Dyer in third. That was the showmanship show here at the Flora Carroll County 4-H Swine Show. We're getting ready to start the Barrow Show. When we start the Barrow Show, we're going to walk in with the Berkshires. Will be the first breed coming in. We've got 2 classes of Berks. Then we'll go into the championship. Then it'll be Chester Whites. We've got 2 classes of those and a champion. And then we'll go into the Durocs and so on and so forth as the show goes. Like I said, right now you'll see the 4-H'ers are bringing their animals up now. And these are barrows. They're going to be looking at barrows for their meat production. They look at barrows a little differently than gilts. Gilts are the females. Females are judged on their production capabilities, how good mothers are going to be, how their bodies are built to raise piglets. And but the barrows are here strictly as meat production, so they're going to be judged on their market value, and that's a little harder when they're on foot, as to whether they're judged hanging meat, which I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but that's where the bacon comes from, and so they're going to be judged on foot. Now, if this was a carcass show, they would actually be judged twice. They would be judged on foot, and then they will also be judged as hanging. But thank goodness we aren't doing a carcass show.
And I think there'll be some
Yeah, they're actually having a cook-off later on, and I'll have some more information on that. They're having a cook-off this evening, so if you want to come out to the Carroll Fairgrounds, it's here in Florida, Indiana. It's a very small, very, I want to say, intimate fairgrounds, but they produce a lot of great food while you're here. You can't go away hungry. There's no way.
I'll bet that's true. And it's not too bad temperature-wise. I think the animals and the kids are doing okay so far.
Yeah, we haven't hit 70 degrees yet, so this has been great. Actually, you're just now seeing a lot of the staff have gotten rid of their sweatshirts. Everybody was here in sweatshirts this morning. It was a little cold, so when we first started this, so perfect weather for a swine show. In fact, the animals are behaving very well, and that's great for the kids. But it's also the comfort of the animals as well, which is very important.
They've probably already figured out where the exit is.
To an extent, if they've been in the ring, but if they haven't, they'll figure it out before it's over with. But we want to thank our sponsors for letting us be here: Indiana Packers, Eikenberry Fine Furniture, Man Chevrolet, Tri-Green Tractor. It's a great day for our swine show, and if you can't be here in person, what better way to be here but to watch it on Shine TV right here through Casper Media. And I want to thank Russ Casper. He's here actually doing all the production. So kind of nice to have the boss hanging out.
Ethan Nelson, Olivia Overholser, Mackenzie Myers, Asa Coe, Audrey Nelson, Titus Kilty, Class 12, Berkshire Barrows, Ethan Nelson, Olivia Overholser, Mackenzie Myers, Asa Coe, Audrey Nelson, Titus Kilty.
All right, we've got Berkshires in the first class. We are underway, so we're going to let you watch the show here just a little bit. We'll have results. I'm going to let the Berkshires go all the way through, and we'll get your champion results before we come back. And then, like I said, we'll go into the Chesters, the Durocs. I look for the show to move very quickly because it is cooler temperatures, and they're not having to fight with the animals at all. Everything's going great.
And Melissa, I'm going to go ahead and keep your mic live, so anytime you want to make some comments, feel free. And then I'll also keep the PA going. So
yeah, that works.
If he talks, then...
Yeah, we'll be able to hear. Russ has got everything fixed up here, so you can actually hear the judges' comments, and we'll also be able to hear our announcer as well as he gives the results of the classes. So it's a great setup. I hope you guys enjoy the show. And he's pinning now. He's placing now. And for those of you who have never watched the swine show,
hogs, I can tend to be relatively efficient, and every kid will still get talked, and we'll still cover all the hogs, I promise you. I think within this particular group of Berkshire Barrows, it's a nice start to the day. And there's one, I think, that although he has plenty of groceries on him, and from a frame size and body type standpoint, he's maxed out in terms of muscle and stoutness, he's still incredibly functional and correct enough in his build relative to his contemporaries. Young lady driving right at me, he's your class winner in this particular set of Berkshires. You can call it tighter between 2 and 3 if you want, but for me, I think the next hog that represents a little more genuine muscle shape while still maintaining some build is the young lady right in front of me. She'll sit 2. Definitely one that, relative to the barrier right behind her, I think is just a little bit bolder out of the backside of his shoulder, feels a little bit more through the seat of his pants, and I think that's why he sits there in second. No question, the taller statured, more elevated hog sits in 3. He's really stout in his forearm, and I like his foot that hits the ground. The problem is when you get right on top of him in the ring and watch him go away, he wants to play out of his shoulder, flatten out through his rib, and just get a little bit flatter going away. That's why he sits where he does. Young lady that comes out next, certainly like this hog, and he has more muscle, no question. He could be the next stoutest muscled after my class winner. The problem that comes with this guy is he's just not right up front, and especially when he dries off his rear leg, just wants to drag that sucker through the shavings. We need to fix him in his build. Young lady that comes out next certainly offers a hog that has some body shape and some flexibility. Need to make this hog just a little bigger in his kind and bolder all the way through. Much could be said about the young man that rounds out this class. A hog that's comfortable and functional, need to add more market hog shape to him to move him up any higher. Give all the exhibitors a nice round of applause on a nice set of Berkshire Barrows.
Now the comments of the judge are actually very helpful to the 4-Hers so that when they go through this next year and they pick their animals, they can keep those in mind, and that helps them actually pick out their market animals. Now, granted, it is just one judge's opinion on this given day and these given specimens of swine, but it's still it's very helpful for them, especially if any of them are going to go into swine production later on down the road. And you'd be surprised, there's a few of these kids, especially the older ones, that actually do raise quite a bit of their own animals, not only for 4-H but also for FFA as well. So there again, we tie FFA and 4-H in together. We're on our second class of Berkshires now, and they're bringing them out one at a time so the judge can get a good look at the individual animal. It gets a little harder when you get them all out there together, but that's the reason why they bring them out one at a time. Our first and second place animals that were held back for the champion drive, Riley Lanham had first place in the first class, and Lauren Spessard had second place in that first class.
Chester White Barrows, been making your way to the show ring. Class 13, Chester White Barrows. Blair Euler, Wyatt Patrick, Morgan Viney, Laney Johnson, Megan Wagner. Class 13, Chester White Barrows. Blair Euler, Wyatt Patrick, Morgan Viney, Laney Johnson, Megan Wagner. Class 13.
The judge is making his selections now, and he'll have them pinned, and the top two from this class will actually go out for the champion drive.
Class 11, Berkshire Barrows, placing today. In sixth is Jackson Ayers. Fifth, Chloe Wakefield. Fourth, Danny Duff. Third, Andre Hernandez. Second, Lauren Spessard. And in first, Riley Lanham.
That was the placings for the first class of Berkshire Barrows. The judge is in the process now of narrowing it down. He's getting them worked into where he thinks those animals place, and we'll have those placings here for you in just a bit. I find it funny though that he's already picked out his class winner, but now he's narrowing down the rest of the animals, kind of weeding them out, looking for that next best animal that matches up. Yeah, flip to the back.
Nice set of Berkshire Barrows. As we get into heavier weights, obviously we're going to fight a little bit of composition. I think that'll be a theme as we work our way on down through here. But I think the bear that's a logical handle in this particular group, not only is he presented and shows like a show bear, other than his attitude, I like this guy in terms of his genuine shape and spread up high. He's true and square leaving me. Has a good enough look relative to this group to be a nice place to start. Congratulations to the young lady. 2 and 3 can get tighter, if you want to call it that. And I think when you really study them in their blade shape and forearm and how they come right at you and going away, I think the more genuine market hogs, the young man sitting right in front of me, he's going to be second. No question, is he a little less athletic than the bear right behind him? No doubt. But he's bolder out of his shoulder and he leaves me with more shape going away. I call him functional enough. Young lady that sits in third, certainly a bear that's probably more flexible and pliable in his build. The problem is when you peel the extra bark on this guy off, I just don't read him with as much genuine shape. I think that's where he falls into the 3-hole. Young lady that comes out, or young man that comes out in 4, certainly a hog that's broad in his skull and jawline. He's really stout in his forearm. My problem is he wants to play out of his blade. Doesn't look as three-dimensional when you get right on top of him and watch him lead you, and certainly could be readjusted on his rear leg. Young lady that comes out next drives a flexible, extended, clean-fronted hog relative to the Berkshire breed. The problem is he wants to get a little flatter through his forerib and gets about as skinny as me, leaving you. That's why he sits there. The young man that comes out next certainly offers a hog that's bolder in his body shape, But when you get right on top of this guy and watch it go away, he's easily the one that carries the most condition with the least amount of muscle. That's why he sits where he does. Nice job to all the exhibitors on a nice set of Berkshires. Should be a fun champion drive.
We're now showing for Champion Berkshire Barrow in Class 11. First place, we have Riley Lanham. In second, Lauren Spessard. And then in Class 12, first place is Mackenzie Myers. Second was Asa Coe.
Results for Class 12 were Mackenzie Myers first, Asa Coe second.
In Class 12
Third
Berkshire
was-
Barrows, the overall placings there were 6th place, Ethan Nelson. 5th place, Olivia Overhauser. In 4th place, Titus Kilty. 3rd, Audrey Nelson. 2nd, Asa Cohe. And 1st, Mackenzie Myers.
Really nice pair of Berkshire Barrows, and I'm serious when I say this. It gets tough at a county fair level to have a pair of them come out that represent two classes with as much quality as the pair that sit out here. I think when you really study them, you know, set the crappy attitude aside of this barrow right in front of me, and I think you still got a pair of barrows that are, I think, relatively comfortable in their build. I think his is just more attitude driven. But at the same time, when you really study a fresh show barrow that really feeds out of his shoulder with a really nice turn, I think he's fresher in the way he ties in his neck, and I think he's just cleaner through the jawline and throat. Young ladies barrow across the way will be your champion. Congratulations.
Champion Berkshire Barrow goes to Riley Lanham. Lauren Spessard will be showing for reserve.
Take nothing away from the second place hog that drops out of that class. It was a competitive group, and he represents an awful lot of good. I think the pair of show barrows, though, that match up better is the young lady's cranky one sitting in the corner. That'll be reserved. Congratulations. Nice set of Berkshire hogs. Compliments to the exhibitors.
Reserve champion Berkshire Barrow is Mackenzie Myers. We're now going to show for Class 13 Chester White Barrows. Class 14 Chester White Barrows. Be making your way to the show ring. Class 14 Chester White Barrows. Tatum Goyer, Titus Kilty, Colby Butcher, Cohen Ayers, Cade McElrath. Class 14 Chester White Barrows. Tatum Goyer, Titus Kilty, Colby Butcher, Cohen Ayers, Cade McElrath.
Chester Whites are now coming up to the ring. They're actually going to be coming out. We've got two classes of Chester Whites. Part of the breed with Chester Whites is they are a little more shorter, a little stockier than most swine, most pigs. You don't see a really long-bodied Chester, and the Chesters have not really floppy ears, but they do have a little bit bigger ear. They are down. They're not upright. The real floppy ears are actually landrace, and you'll see the difference when they hit the ring. But Chesters are a good meat breed. They pack a lot in a compact body.
Landraces are good, famous for being good mothers, aren't they?
Yeah, landrace are great mothers. They're fantastic when it comes to that. In fact, landrace and Durocs are probably the two best breeds for mothers, and they make really good, if you cross those two breeds, they make really good crossbreds. And I know a lot of people like the Hampshires, and the Hampshire is a great meat breed, especially a meat breed. They don't make the best mothers, though. So you want to, if you're going to cross with a Hampshire to get that meat quality, you're going to want to cross them with a Duroc or with a landrace just to get that mothering instinct as well. Yeah, it is. It's going very smoothly, very quickly. Actually, I mean, here we are, just not that far past 9 o'clock, and we're already through all the showmen and into our second breed of barrows. So the show's actually moving quite well, and the judge has been very consistent in his calls. So that was evident with those two classes of Berkshires. You can see the Chesters that they're out there, and you'll see the difference in them as we get the different breeds in. Durocs coming in after the Chesters are the big red pigs, and they are big, they are long, and they are massive in build. So you'll see a difference in all the breeds as they come in. But again, we're looking at barrows, we're looking at market animals. We're not looking for good mothers. We're not looking for good producers as far as being able to raise several babies. We're looking at what's going to put the best meat on the table.
My compliments to AT&T. They're giving us an excellent bandwidth today.
Yeah, we're kind of in no man's land over here, where it's a hit and miss on service, and right now we got great service from AT&T, and I gotta admit, I'm showing pretty good bars too, and I got Sprint, so we're both doing great. So we want to thank them for that, because without the band we wouldn't be here. The judge is starting to make his picks. He's starting to separate them out. And he's going to walk the animal all the way around. And he also wants to make sure that they're good and square on their feet, because an animal who can't walk well, who doesn't have that structure, that skeletal structure, is not going to carry that muscle well, which means that the muscle's not going to be healthy. The animal's not going to be healthy. So he's watching for that too as well. An animal that walks well and has good depth and good width is going to be an excellent producer of quality meat. So again, we want to thank our sponsors for letting us be out here, because without them we wouldn't be here. Indiana Packers, Eikenberry Fine Furniture, Man Chevrolet, Tri-Green Tractor, and we're going to listen to the judges' results here.
They couldn't be more different, and I'll evaluate them briefly, let you know what I see and what's rolling around in my skull, and then I'll let you figure out where I kind of place them. But in the meantime, young lady's bear that sits across the way. I like a bunch of show bears that are just this true and trim and fresh in their composition. I think this guy's incredibly good in that breed for being as clean in his jaw and through his neck as he is. I think he's appropriate in his body shape, and when he leaves me, I think he's stout enough in terms of pin set. Where am I a little concerned with this guy? This guy gets a little upright and vertical in his blade. It causes him to separate up high, and his chine wants to pop up ever so slightly and shows a bit of wear up there. On top of that, he just falls short in his step because of where his blade sets in his body. Young lady's bear that sits in front of me is an absolute creature in terms of forehead and skull shape. He's incredibly big-footed. You won't find a lot of other Chester bears just much bigger-legged than this guy. As a trade-off, though, he's carrying plenty through his neck and lower third of his skeleton. He's not exactly the most fresh, trim creature in the world, but when you study him, I still think he's genuine enough in his shape. I think he's comfortable enough relative to the bear I just described in terms of build, that although he's not my cute show bear in the world, I still feel the most comfortable using him in a market dog setting. Young lady's stout hog will be first. Young lady's cooler-headed one will be second. Real good pair, though. You want to flip them, I won't argue. Young lady that comes out in third that about had her knees completely taken out of underneath her. That bear is bigger in his kind, and I like his extension. The real problem with this guy is when he drives right at you and leaves you, he gets fairly narrow and thin up high. Take him out through his hip, he gets about as impressive as I am leaving you. So that's why he falls where he does. Good bear, though, to be sitting there in third. The young lady that comes out next, almost a smaller image of what the young lady's bear that sits in front of him. Good look from the side, extended, a little more moderate in his body length. But when you get on top of him, watch him go away. There's just not enough hog here to move him on up. The young man that comes out next with the track star. This guy can absolutely cover the ring. There's no doubt about that. He's incredibly flexible and comfortable. We just need more hog here to move him up any higher. Nice set of Chester Barrows. Give the exhibitors a hand.
Class of Chester Barrows first goes to Megan Wagner and second goes to Lainey Johnson. They will actually come back in.
Durock Barrows will be making your way to the show ring. Class 15, Durock Barrows. Savannah Bordner. Alan Bushman. Aiden Ayers. Wyatt Roth. Colby Butcher. Riley Lanham. Tyson Cooper. Mackenzie Anderson. Kennedy Schuler. Class 15, Durock Barrows. Savannah Bordner. Alan Bushman. Aiden Ayers. Wyatt Roth. Colby Butcher. Riley Lanham. Tyson Cooper. Mackenzie Anderson. Kennedy Schuler.
Placings for Class 13, Chester White Barrows. In fifth was Wyatt Patrick. Fourth, Blair Euler. Third, Morgan Viney. Second, Lainey Johnson. And first, Megan Wagner.
Today's Swine Show is being broadcast live and worldwide at shine99tv.com. You can see them behind the announcer stand. The show is being broadcast live on the web at shine99tv.com.
Really nice pair of Chester Barrows that surfaced within this particular drive. They definitely differ a little bit in what they offer, but there's no doubt the quality's elite. And I think when you study this pair in a county fair setting, you'll be hard to press to find ones that push each other like they do. Even with that said, I think the Barrow that just reads fresher, and especially in this particular breed, more often than not this summer, it's sorted a lot of these Chester drives. The freshness at the top of his shoulder and the way he can deposit a proper amount of shape and condition and still be incredibly comfortable in his blade set and getting out and rolling. Young man right in front of me, he's going to have your class winner. Congratulations. I like the young man's Barrow sitting in the corner, though. That one's slick in terms of his look up front. I like his body length is okay enough in terms of balance. I like his hip and hind leg and the way he can plant and drive, and he's right in terms of shape. Where's his issue for me? He gets a little push forward in his shoulder, separates at the top there and gets a little staler. That's why he ends up where he does. Nice pair of Barrows, though. Young man that comes out next, that Barrow did not miss a feed bucket, I promise you. This guy's incredibly robust and bold up high. He's really big in his body shape. The problem is we need to trim him up in his condition through the lower third, make him fresher back, and certainly make him a little less jolly. But that's a good Barrow to be sitting there next. The young man that comes out next is certainly one that may be more appropriate in terms of his body condition, but when you study his true shape coming and going, that's where he falls. The young man that comes out next, certainly a Barrow that starts to mirror the 1-2 ahead of him in terms of body shape and flesh. We need to trim him and make him more genuine in his muscle shape. Nice set of showmen, though. Congratulations to the Chester exhibitors.
We're going to be showing for Champion Chester here in just a moment. Winner of that class was...
For Champion Chester White Barrow, out of Class 13, first place was Megan Wagner. Second was Lainey Johnson. Then out of Class 14, we had first place Colby Butcher. Second place Tatum Goyer.
Placings for Class 14. Fifth place is Cohen Ayers. Fourth place, Titus Kilty. Third place, Cade McElrath. Second place, Tatum Goyer. And first again was Colby Butcher.
As we get into our Champion Chester drive here, I think a couple of quality representatives, and we talked about them in class. I described the lighter class winner as just being a mammoth in terms of foot and feature and certainly broad-skulled and bold everywhere. And then I talked about the young man's bear that came out of the heaviest class, just fresh and a show bear and right in terms of his body proportions and balance. And that's where I like to use them. Young man's heaviest class winner will be your champion. Congratulations.
Colby Butcher is your champion at Chester White Barrow. Tatum Goyer will be showing for reserve.
As our judge makes his selection for reserve, I just noticed that Colby Butcher, he just won champion Chester.
Decisions for reserve, and it's the closest decision we've had all day so far. And I know from the outside, bleacher judging is one of my favorite things to do as well, much like everyone that's sitting along ringside as we do it right now. And from the outside, I can guarantee you that there's one that looks like a more attractive show bear and one that looks kind of chunky, kind of chubby, but when you get in the ring and you get on top of that one has some true merit and some value. That's what I just want to make sure I highlight. The bear that most closely follows my champion is going to be the young man in front of me, though. Congratulations to that exhibitor.
Reserve champion Chester White Barrow goes to Tatum Goyer. We're now going to be showing Class 15 Duroc Barrows. Class 15 Duroc Barrows. Class 16 Duroc Barrows. Be making your way to the show ring. Class 16 Duroc Barrows. Cooper Kinsler, Laney Johnson, Noah Johnson, Avery Dyer, Megan Wagner, Andre Hernandez, Kason Lambert, Morgan Viney, Grace Filbrin. Class 16 Duroc Barrows, be making your way to the show ring. Cooper Kinsler, Laney Johnson, Noah Johnson, Avery Dyer, Megan Wagner, Andre Hernandez, Kason Lambert, Morgan Viney, Grace Filbrin.
So far, we've shown the Berkshires. We have the champion Riley Lanham and reserve champion Mackenzie Myers. Chester champion, Chester White, was Colby Butcher, and reserve was Tatum Goyer. Now, I just noticed, though, I thought it was kind of pretty, it was part of one of the things that you see here is you're going to see several kids out here more than once because they can have more than one animal. Well, Colby Butcher, who just won the Chester White, had to drop his animal as fast as he could back to probably a family member, and he ran back up the aisle and jumped into the pen with his Duroc, who went into the next class. So that young man is not getting a breather at all, and he's out there showing again right now with his Duroc. Now we have, I believe, 2 classes of Durocs, and then we will go into the Hampshires. So we are moving through the breeds fairly quickly. Durocs, you can tell they are a little longer, they're a little broader. They are a big breed. Overall size-wise, they can outweigh, I'd say outweigh a Chester White by a good 20 pounds very easily. They're very quick growing. That's why they're a very popular breed, especially for 4-H. 4-H is a short season. You don't have that much time to be able to raise your animal. You get them in, they have to be born in January, after January 1st. And for early county fairs, anywhere from June to July, like we're considered here in Carroll County and Clayton County as early fairs, these kids have to push them hard to get them up to market weight, because they have to weigh at least 230 or they can't sell their animals in the auctions. So Durocs are a favorite because they are very quick growing. They pack on the pounds very quickly, and just overall growth is very quick. It takes a lot of the other breeds a little longer to get there. So Durocs are also a favorite to cross with for that same reason. In fact, I can tell you right now, we've had a lot of Durocs through my family. When my family showed 4-H, my grandson's getting ready to. In fact, he worked with Durocs over the summer with his mentor. So I can about guarantee we'll have a red pig next year when he shows. So the girls on the board are turning around and waving to the crowd. Like any other 4-H fair, it does not run on just sheer willpower, and it's not a paid staff. It's all volunteer. Every adult you see here, whether they be a parent, whether they be a ringman in the ring right now, whether they be up here on the announcer's stand keeping track of the order, making sure everybody gets the recognition that they need, it's all volunteers. So there isn't anybody sitting here that gets paid to be here at 6:30 in the morning when they were setting up and getting ready, and the parents that were driving sleepy kids here to the fairgrounds so that they could get ready to show. The old saying is, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a whole community to put on a 4-H fair and run a 4-H program.
Everybody's working hard to showcase the hard work.
Yeah, this is the final for the kids. They get a chance to showcase their hard work and dedication. We're going to listen to the judge and his results on this class.
When we get in and sort this particular group, as to be expected sometimes within this breed, you can kind of start going through and sorting hind leg and get whittled down to a few of them in a hurry. And I know other breeds have their issues. This one just tends to be the theme of most of the shows I've covered this year. That can be a pretty quick sort, and when you're getting in that, I think we've got 3 of them out here I would just call functional enough in terms of rear leg placement. And then after that, I think you have your differences in how they're put together, how they lay their muscle shape over their skeleton, and then their ability to hinge and flex out of that hip. And I think when you consider all the above, the one hog that just does that best, puts it in a show hog state, and he has plenty of goods to him, is the young man in the middle. He'll be your class winner out of this particular group. Congratulations. Take nothing away from the young lady that drives straight away from me. That rascal's easily the biggest backed and the broadest hip. He has a ton of shape working through his ham and lower hip. The problem with this guy is he's so dense in his hip, he falls short in his step, and then that frailer hind leg wants to flirt with the outside of his framework. That's why he falls where he does. Real nice bear, though, to be sitting 2. Young lady's bear that sits in 3rd. I know from the outside, this guy's kind of just a mediocre-looking one, but you get past his lighter hair, and I'm telling you, this bear has value, because relative to the bears we're going to cover on down the line, his rear leg placement's substantially better, and relative to his weight, I think his shape's genuine enough. The young lady that comes out next certainly has the hog that's bolder all the way through. Monster forearms, slick-looking head and jawline, and really cool through the front 2/3 of his skeleton. My issues when this guy wants to go, that rear leg starts to get awful dangerous, and I don't think that hip and that hip assembly in general is all that great, so we need to redesign that to move him up. Really cool front 2/3. The young lady that comes out next, like this bear, has darker pigment and presentation. She does a nice job driving him. When you get right behind him, he wants to get just flatter and plainer in his shape, gets a little more rigid off his hind leg. That's why he falls where he does. The young man that comes out next certainly offers one that's stout and burly, all sorts of shape, and is actually within himself, but he's a little smaller in his frame size and just shorter in his pattern. That's why I need him to be bigger in his kind to balance out. The young man that comes out next certainly offers a hog that has some stoutness to his pin, but when he takes it to the ground, he gets coarser in his joints and wants to really roll outside of himself. The young man that comes out next offers a hog that has some look and design, but we need more groceries and stoutness all the way through, on top of being more comfortable in his build. Much could be said about the young man that'll come out and round out this class. Hog that has some look up front, but now we need to go ahead and make him more comfortable in his build. Give all the exhibitors a nice round of applause on a nice set of red bears.
Goes to Colby Butcher. Second place goes to Riley Lanham. They'll come back in for the championship drive. We want to thank our sponsors for letting us be out here. Indiana Packers, Eikenberry Fine Furniture, Mann Chevrolet, and Tri-Green Tractor.
9th place, Aiden Ayers. 8th place, Wyatt Roth. 7th, Tyson Cooper. 6th, Alan Bushman. Fifth, Kennedy Schuler. Fourth, Mackenzie Anderson. Third, Savannah Bordner. Second, Riley Lanham. And first, Colby Butcher.
Right now at the Carroll County 4-H Swine Show. We're broadcasting live here on Shine TV. Want to thank everybody for letting us be here. Again, let's go over our sponsors again. Indiana Packers, Eikenberry Fine Furniture, Man Chevrolet, and Tri-Green Tractor for allowing us to be out here covering this and being able to bring it to your living room so you don't have to go anywhere. Or if you're at work, you can pop it, if you got split screen, you can put it on one screen and still work on the other one. That way you can keep up on what's going on and the progress and the accomplishments of all these great 4-H'ers.
You can watch Hollywood Squares on one and the Swine Show on the other.
Yeah, as long as your boss doesn't let you see you doing it, that's okay.
It is fun. It is fun to see.
A couple of announcements. Tonight is the 4th
Yeah.
off at 5:30 at the Pavilion, north of the Open Class Building. There will be samples of pork tenderloin and bacon dishes, as well as some sides. You can vote for your favorite by placing money in the containers of each of the contestants. And the one with the most donations will receive a People's Choice Award, and the proceeds benefit the 4-H program. Also tonight is the Barn Olympics. You must sign up in the Extension office, and you need to see Jen, Megan, or Joanne for release forms, and you must be signed by 2 p.m. today. If you want to participate in Barn Olympics, sign up by 2 p.m. today. A few thank yous for making this show possible. New Holland, Rochester for donating a skid steer to clean up the fairgrounds. Dairy Queen donated buckets for the showmen that participated in the showmanship contest. Pizza King donated bottled water for the ring help and the judge. Hogslat has donated the herding boards, fans, and IPC is still taking fair picks. Let's all thank them for helping make this show run smoothly.
And again, it does. It takes a lot of volunteers, takes a lot of sponsors to help put on a program like this. I know I'm involved in the Clinton County program.
Today is our queen. Stand up, Tori, and wave to everyone. Tori Nackey is our queen, and also helping her is the second runner-up princess, Brianna Redding. Jane Duff is helping as well too, but I believe she's showing pigs.
From the 4-H Swine Show here at the Carroll County Fair. Carroll is actually the #1 county in the state of Indiana for pork production. They, I believe, roughly 1.2 million pounds of pork come out of Carroll County in a calendar year. I believe that's correct. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's right. And Indiana is actually number 6 in the nation in pork production. So little tiny state like Indiana, we produce an awful lot of pork.
And then of course you have Indiana Packers, which is one of our sponsors here too.
Yeah, so wouldn't it make sense that they would actually land in Carroll County? Up around Delphi is where the plant's at, and it makes sense that they would want to make Carroll County their home, being the #1 pork producer county in the state. So. And Clinton County, I believe, is right behind that. So, and Cass County, the surrounding areas around Carroll County, but Clinton and Carroll are the 2 top pork production counties